Well done, 7th game, 7th win. Bakayo, the performance, how do you sum it up first?
I think it's a performance we can be proud of. We got the win in the end and yeah, we played well.
Is that the sweetest volley you've hit for England?
Yeah, maybe, I'm not sure, it's top 2 though.
It was a clean strike, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a nice strike, I was happy winning.
Well, after that, you did a sort of message to the bench. Was that to change the boots? We were wondering if you're going to come off or not.
No, I just wanted to change my boots, that was it.
As they sum up the night from your point of view, Raya.
Yeah, again, another good performance, important to get the win. Of course, happy to score and to help the team, which is important as well.
And was the key to your goal Phil's pass?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, you know, these types of players, they're always going to put the ball in the right position for you, and yeah, I just saw the opportunity to shoot and win in.
What about the competition for places? The managers talked a lot about that, especially in that number 10 position.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in the team. You can see the types of players that are here, types of players that aren't here as well. So yeah, it's the type of competition that you want to be up against, you want to be in and around, and it's going to help the team for sure.
And how do you sum up this campaign under Thomas and going to a World Cup? What do you think has been built?
I think it's been very successful. We've won every game, so yeah, we just want to keep building on that.
And going to a World Cup, when you look at the talent, when you look at the squad, what do you think?
Yeah, we've got to be confident, we've got to believe that it's possible. But of course, it's games like this, it's working day by day towards achieving that goal. And yeah, of course, we're doing everything we can.
And the game just underlined what we were talking about at the top of the show when we were down pitch side, which is the strength in depth they have in attacking positions off the bench. Ezra off the bench, Foden off the bench, Bellingham off the bench, clearly with a point to prove as well. That's a lovely position to be in.
Fantastic options for any manager. Players coming off the bench and then particularly coming on with the right attitude. Yeah. We saw the importance of the Euros at the end of the season, the strength in depth, people coming off the bench, especially as well in the World Cup, coming up with the conditions will be difficult. But when you've got quality players coming on with the right attitude and wanting to have an impact, then not more pleasing for a manager.
Particularly given the conditions in the States next year. There'll be the same amount of games, funnily enough, because there's one fewer group game, but it's 5.5 weeks, so it's a longer tournament, over 100 matches in all. So for Thomas Tuchel, he knows he's got so many options there, hasn't he, to plot a strategy through that time.
And like Roy said, about coming on with the right attitude, but this is when you listen to Thomas Tuchel talking about the brotherhood. They're going to have to be together because, like, yes, 11's going to start, but then you want the players who are coming on to actually come on knowing that, listen, I'm on the bench, I've got a part to play, because that's what's going to happen. Like, because we've got, obviously, we're going to be playing against better quality at some stage, and then we'll really see what they're about. But in respect of them and the endeavour right now, it's good.
There's definitely a nice feel what England are trying to do at the moment. I think the chemistry amongst the players, the manager, the way he's coming across, there's good energy, there's a good vibe. Obviously, when you're winning, helps, breeds confidence, and we keep saying there's bigger tests to come. But if you're involved in that England camp and that vibe that's going on there, it must be very pleasing for everyone.
It's actually taking on what Gareth Southgate worked so hard to build, wasn't it? Which is that club feel at this level.
And that's where the manager deserves credit, because you can get that wrong. You can come in and try and do too much, but he's come in, he's obviously made some big decisions. He's given players a chance who aren't necessarily always playing for the big clubs. I think there was always a feeling maybe for England players over the years, there was maybe a bit of favouritism for certain clubs or certain players, whereas this manager looks as if you're going, no, if you're performing, I'm going to put you in, and if you do well, you'd stay there.
You wanted signs of progress. Did you see more?
Yeah, it was complicated. It was a difficult match. It was complicated because they knew everything about us and we knew nothing about them. And go through the list of players. They play in top clubs, they play in top leagues, they have individual quality, and they came with a new energy, and they made it a final for them. I like the first half a lot. I think we deserve to go up. I think we deserve to have maybe a second goal with Harry's header after the set piece. And the second half, we didn't get the pressing right all the times. They escape sometimes from the deep build-up and into fast attack. So the back four had to work hard to keep the clean sheet. We had to overcome some difficult moments, but I like it. Not everything is easy. Not every win is like 2-0, 3-0, 5-0, whatever. It's good. We kept a clean sheet and decisive in the end. Good.
Well, it was 2-0. Just in terms of the impact players, has that been underlined tonight? This idea maybe of finishers.
Yes, we had good impact from the bench straight away, but the game became also a bit more stretched after I think we did the subs. It's around 60 minutes, so after 70, 75, the game got a little bit too open. I need to check why. But we brought on quality players, of course. They wanted to show, and they showed. It's good.
How did Phil Foden do in that 9.5?
Good. He's in good shape. You see it you see it straight away that he's in good mood, that he's in full confidence because the ball's just in the right moment. The first touches are well-tempered. The pass is good in front of the assist is a very good assist. He moves freely. It's good.
We often saw him play wide for England under Gareth Southgate. You never really sensed that was his best position. Thomas Tuchel has said, no, I don't regard him as that. I either regard him as playing as a false 9 or in the number 10 position. If you're Phil Foden, you think, well, I'll play either of those happily. Thank you. I'll sign up to that.
You look at the amount of 10s, you know what I mean, the amount of 10s that are in this squad, you know, Phil Foden's just shown that, okay, against Serbia, who were chasing the game, you know, he's able to break on them and show what he's capable of doing, but at the same time, anyhow you can get into the squad, you've got to just take that, you know?
Yeah, if England obviously want to have a big impact at the World Cup, then they can't keep dependent on Kane. Kane's been a major player from obviously over the last few years. His record of stats is fantastic, but they'll need better attacking options or players to turn up. And England have that potential. Hopefully they'll turn up with the right attitude, particularly for players who are big players are on the bench, that they turn up and go, if I'm a sub,
an extra knockout round. That's the important bit.
But if you're just on the bench and you're a big player for your club, but you turn up at England, you go, you're sub, leave your ego at the door and go, listen, I still want to turn up and have an impact, even off the bench.
They're all called finishers now, Roy.
Finishers, right.
Finishers,
okay, oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Phil, well done. Good to be back.
Oh, amazing to be back. So happy to be back in the squad with these great players, and I'm enjoying it.
And how do you feel you did as an impact player?
Yeah, I thought I did well. I thought I created some chances, lucky not to put a few away. But I think overall I have to be happy with the impact that I did today. So yeah, overall really happy.
And is that a role you'd take?
Yeah, wherever the manager puts me, you know, I can play in multiple positions, and I was happy to come on as like a false 9 kind of thing, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
The manager says that's where he wants to see you now. Maybe it will continue. Is that the role that will suit you best for England?
Yeah, maybe I'll get the best out of me. Only time will tell. Like I said today, I was happy to come on in that role, and the game was opened up a little bit, which helped me as well. And yeah, we managed to find some space into me, and yeah, overall, I think not just me, you know, it was a great team performance.
And going to a World Cup now, the pressure is on to make the team, obviously to make the squad as well.
Yeah, there's quality players all over the pitch. I know the pressure's on to perform well at my club. I just have to keep my head down, keep working hard and training every day, and yeah, try and earn my place.
The smile is there, isn't it? Good to be back.
Definitely, yeah, the smile's back, yeah.
It was great to hear him say amazing to be back. You forget how much he's packed in. He's only 25. That's his 46th cap. Yeah. So he scored 4 goals. Obviously, he's got to score more. Yeah. He's won the title 6 times already. Last season, it was a bit of a nothing. And, you know, I don't want to say you're entitled to that, but that's inevitably going to happen, isn't it, when you start so young? That some seasons won't be that great.
That's
human nature.
But he's won everything, and he's been in a team that's capable of doing that, and he's played his part in that. But, you know, playing for England and wanting to play for England, wanting to be somebody who people talk about as an England player that's contributing must be something that he desperately wants, because he's won everything domestically, you know, and it is quite weird to hear a name like Phil Foden's as not being amongst the England team, and where's he going to play? And he's, like you mentioned, 40, how many caps?
46.
46 caps, you know, and we're still talking about can he fit in? And just pleased that he's got an opportunity to play in that role and show that if given the opportunity in the right circumstance, he can deliver.
I think he'll like the clarity, won't he, from his manager? I see you in this position, not that position.
Yeah, I think players will like that. Yeah. I think when you're in the squad, you always know there's competition. You always know who you're up against. But when a manager comes out and says, that's where I want to play you, that's the competition around you. So when he's got his opportunity tonight, it was just go and take it. Yep. And he did. His link-up play, and obviously is set up for the second goal. We know his quality, and it looks like he's got a spark back. And it's nice because, listen, we all have a lot of time for Phil Foden, even from the United side of Manchester. It's good to see him back to his best.
Some of the players who missed out and will want to force their way into the team, and whether they need to make a move in January to help their case. Starting with the 19-year-old Miles Lewis-Skelly at Arsenal. You were a youngster at Arsenal back in the day. He's now been left out, according to Thomas Tuchel, because of a lack of game time. So Tuchel's saying, look, you've got to play more to put yourself in the picture. Yep. The argument from the Arsenal fans will be, well, hold on, he's 19, he doesn't need to be playing every single second of every match.
No, of course, but if you want to play, for the national side, you need to be playing in the Premier League side, right? These players are performing, need to be in there. We're not, if Miles Lewis-Skelly was the only left back that we had, then, obviously you'd still pick him. But when you've got players like Jed Spence, O'Reilly, other players in there who are staking their claim, Miles Lewis-Skelly needs to be playing. I think he's a brilliant footballer.
There's a lot of brilliant footballers. I mean, how brilliant does he have to be then to get into the squad as an option at left back when you've got Nico O'Reilly starting?
Yeah, well, he's got to be in front of. For the first thing he needs to concentrate on is get in front of Calafiori.
Yeah.
Because he was in front of Calafiori last season. Calafiori's come back this season, performing well, and Arteta's picking him in front of him. Why that is? Maybe he looks at Miles Lewis-Skelly. He's young. He's got a mistake in him. He can, maybe get done positionally. He likes to drift into midfield, and sometimes his discipline might let him down. But in terms of him as a future star, Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to be an England international.
Well, hold on. Nico O'Reilly's a matter of months older than Miles Lewis-Skelly. Nico O'Reilly's 20 years old.
Yeah, but he's starting. He's playing for Manchester City and he's performing well.
But then does that not counter what the Arsenal fans are saying? That doesn't matter. I mean, 19, you're a man in football, aren't you?
A man? I mean, you're not a man. You're still he's 19.
But he could be starting every game if O'Reilly's doing it.
He could be starting every game.
On their tail.
Yeah, but Calafiori's a really good player as well, and they've got options. And at this moment in time, Miles Lewis-Skelly has found himself out of the side. So he needs to fight his way back into it. And once he gets himself back in the Arsenal team, then Thomas Tuchel, will look at him again.
But he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, isn't he? Because, so if he's not going to leave Arsenal, is he? I mean, or is he? Would you, Miles Lewis-Skelly, would you knock on the door and say, look, I need to go and play every week if I want to get to the World Cup? Because he's the number 2. Arteta's not going to let him go. If there's an injury, he starts the Champions League games. He comes on in like the 70th or the 80th minute for Trossard when they go defensive in a Premier League match.
Yeah.
So he's saying back to Tuchel, well, I'm doing my best here.
Yeah.
They're not going to let me go on loan. So what's the deal?
Well, look, it's a great argument because Miles Lewis-Skelly, if he genuinely believes that he wants to get in that World Cup squad and he needs to play football, then he would go and ask Arteta and say, look, I want to go on loan in January. I need to go on loan, go to another Premier League side. I want to play every week, stake my claim and get myself on the plane. But that's him, personal. Arsenal, there's no way they're going to allow that to happen. So he's just going to have to suck it up and deal with it and get himself back in the Arsenal team and get in front of Calafiori. Because Arsenal, there's no way in there, if they're fighting out for the Premier League, the Champions League, they need Miles Lewis-Skelly to be in the squad. So it's a tough situation and you see it happen. And, on a personal level, as a young footballer, you want to play every week. You want to get yourself in the England side. Does that mean going out on loan? Yeah, of course, maybe that might be the opportunity to go out on loan. There's no way Arteta and Arsenal are going to let Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? So it's a difficult one for him. Look, he's played 6 times for England. He's 19 and he's played 6 times for England. I mean, that's impressive, right?
Yeah.
And you're clearly not a first choice pick. You said he's brilliant. And look, just playing devil's advocate here. I mean, do you think he gets in any Premier League team? Miles Lewis-Skelly. I mean, he can't get in the Arsenal team, but you know what I mean? Beneath Arsenal.
I think he's there or thereabouts in pretty much every other side. Yeah, well, don't you? I mean, when I look at him...
Well, he doesn't get in cities ahead of Nico O'Reilly, does he?
He's 19.
You're having O'Reilly start at left back for England.
Yeah, I know, but he's 19.
Yeah.
So, you're saying
if he hadn't played,
he's going to start every week. We're not talking about a 25-year-old who's played over 100 games in the Premier League. He's a young kid who had a quick rise to fame last season, who's a hugely talented football player, but he's still learning his trade. He's still learning the game.
So, hold on. So, if he hadn't come through the Arsenal Academy and he was a youngster at Bournemouth and he was doing what he was doing, would he have played for England? Would he have been in that England squad? This is Arsenal tax, isn't it?
I do believe being at Arsenal gives you more of an opportunity and more of a chance to get an England set up. Yeah, absolutely.
You played every single England age group when you were coming through.
Yeah, when I was at Arsenal Academy, I was involved with England every single tournament, every single call-up. Being at Arsenal holds you in good stead. Of course it does. Like if you're at Manchester City, like if you're at Manchester United. Of course, because over the course of academy players, the best players are going to be at the best clubs, and Arsenal have got one of the best academies in the world. So of course they're going to have the best players, and England throughout the age groups will pick from the best sides.
I just disagree with you in the terms of the I think you are a man at 19. I mean, look, we talked about...
You're not a man at 19.
We talked about Nico O'Reilly, right? So Kobbie Mainoo, is he a man?
No, he's a young kid.
He's 20. Yeah, but I mean,
but he's a young kid.
He's 20 years old. The guy has
20.
played nearly 60 Premier League games for Manchester United. He's won the FA Cup. He's played for England 10 times.
Come on, he's 20 years old.
Clearly Tuchel is not having him, is he?
No, he's not having him because he's not
played for Tuchel.
No, because he's not playing for Man United.
So what will you do if you're him?
Kobe Manu?
Yeah.
I'm gone.
He's already knocked on the door, they won't let him go.
Yeah, but that's because Man United looking after themselves and their interests. If we get injuries, Casemiro, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes get injured, we need players in the squad. If we send out Kobe
12 months
Manu
ago,
on
you
loan,
were ranting and raving, saying that you should be in the England squad. We know a bit more.
but
than
if you're
that.
not playing,
yeah,
but if you're not playing,
he's in the
for
bomb
England.
squad now, not the England squad.
Yeah, I know, but that's on him. He needs to be better and he needs to step up.
How does he need to be better when he's not even playing? How can he be better if he's not getting a chance?
Well, if he ain't getting a chance, then you have to go and knock on the door.
What if they're not letting you go?
Well,
what do you do?
As a player, there's nothing you can do. You have to suck it up.
What would you do if you want to get on that plane? You go knock on the door, say, look, and he's clearly not a disruptive guy. He wants to play for England. Manchester United say, well, we're not letting you out on loan. What do you do?
Well, you have to take it on the chin.
What, just not play for England, not go to the World Cup because a manager's not having you?
Yeah, simple as. If you can't get out on loan and he's not willing to let you leave, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Mate,
the national team gets picked.
He hasn't played for England since Lee Carsley was in charge.
Kobe Manu?
Yeah.
Yeah, but because he's not been performing well enough and he's now out of the team at Manchester United. He wants to play for England, and if he gets the opportunity to play for Man United, he's got to perform, get himself back in the team. And if the manager's not having you, then you need to try and leave. But if you're under contract, you can't just leave. So if they're not going to let you leave, then as a player, suck it up and deal with it. You're under contract. And Man United are not there as a charity for Kobe Manu to get himself in the England squad. Man United are there to win.
You don't think he's been unfairly treated? What we've seen of Kobe Manu. I mean, look what he did in that FA Cup final against Manchester United.
Unfairly treated?
Well, I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but the guy clearly is talented. He's not getting a sniff. Is he, under Amorim?
He's not having him.
And Amorim's had his people that he's not having, and most of them have gone.
You don't rate him.
Garnacho, Rashford, they're out the door.
Yeah.
But if he's not having you, surely they should do him a favour and let him leave on loan.
They should do him a favour, but they've also looking after their own interest, Manchester United. They're not a charity. They're a football club, and they've got a player who's on their books who they're paying an awful lot of money to, and he ain't been performing. And whether Ruben Amorim's having him or not, Kobe Manu will look at himself and say, all right, well, I need to do better. If he was at the top of his game, he'd be playing for Man United, wouldn't he? But he's not. So they've binned him off. Do they let him go out on loan to get him opportunity not to play for England, but he's an asset to Manchester United. You want Kobe Manu playing football.
20 years old. I mean, he's got so much.
Still a young kid. Don't say to me that 20-year-old you're a man. You're not a man at 20. What were we doing? Well, I mean, I was playing football, but
we're not men. We're not men now.
No, I've only just look at it. I only literally sit here in my kitchen now and think probably a man now. To be fair,
what are you going to do when you grow up?
Yeah. I'll never grow up.
Right,
20-year-old, you're a young kid.
We mentioned Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's 19, by the way, a moment ago. Suggestions that he needs to play more for Arsenal to get in that Thomas Tuchel England squad or to even be in the picture. Sky Sports have partnered with Finalysis, an app where passionate fans share their opinions on their club. You can represent your club. Scan the QR code, visit the Sky Sports app for more details. And joining us now, the Arsenal fan should say, Nick Karamanlis. Nick, good to see you. So come on, where do you stand in this Miles Lewis-Skelly debate? Do you not think, as I've said, he's between a rock and a hard place here? Because Arteta's not going to let him go, but Tuchel's saying, you've got to play more, mate, if I'm going to look at you.
Yeah, look. All right, Jamie, how you doing?
It's my mate.
Last season,
Who, Nick?
I
can't believe he's
we're
got
practically family, Jamie.
If anything from now, mate, you talk absolute garbage. Full of garbage.
Have you two been on before?
No, he's a family friend. I went on holiday with him a couple of years ago, and I ain't seen him since.
When you had those Crocs in that open net thing by the pool?
Oh, Nick, come on, what you got for us?
Well, listen, Miles Lewis-Skelly, look, we all know the talent. Last season, he was one of our standouts, wasn't he? A confidence he brings at such a young age, and he's so physical as well at that age as well. He wins us so many fouls. That's the only way to get the ball off him. I did have concerns when Calafiori started coming in over him because he was so good last season. But I think Arteta's got a different role for Calafiori. He was almost like a number 9 half the time. And yeah, obviously, it's not great for the youngster because it's a World Cup year and he wants to get the minutes. But
Nick, why is he not playing him? Why is Arteta not picking him? That's because he was in the squad and now he's out. Why is Arteta now saying Calafiori's my guy? Does he make mistakes?
I don't think. No, well, I don't think it's a lack of. I don't think the lack of playing time is a reflection of his talent. I don't think it's that. First of all, it kind of shows our depth in our squad as well. I mean, look. you could argue that maybe last season he got too many games, more games than Arteta would have liked to because of injuries. So maybe he threw him in a bit too early. Yeah. We got a little taste of him, and now we want more. But actually, Arteta's plan tactically is Calafiori suits us better. If you look at our games, Calafiori is sometimes like a number 9. He's the furthest forward, and maybe he plays that role better than Lewis Skelly does. I don't know. My concern for Lewis Skelly is now when Calafiori comes off, Hincapie's coming on, and that is where I'm thinking, well, hold on. If you want that bit of steel, maybe Lewis Skelly should be the one coming on.
How highly do you rate him, Nick? I mean, we had that chat with Jamie a minute ago, and I said, well, how many other Premier League teams would he start for? I mean, what's your answer to that? He doesn't start for City, he wouldn't start for Liverpool. I mean, I know he's 19, I get that, and he's a huge talent, and he's got massive potential, but right now is what we're talking about, to go to a World Cup. How highly do you rate him?
Well, I rate him really highly. First of all, why doesn't he start for Liverpool? Who's their left back?
Well, Robertson's starting ahead of Kirkes at the moment, isn't he?
Exactly. So I think he starts for Liverpool.
He's not better than Robertson, is he?
I think he does. I think
right
he does.
Now? He's a boy, according to Jamie. He's not a man.
Well, hold on. There was a reason why they brought Kirkes in, because Robertson wasn't great last season. All right, Kirkes hasn't hit the ground running, so Robertson's come in. I think Miles Lewis-Skelly is a better player than both of them.
Hold on, so hold on,
but
Nick, if Calafiori's injured and you're going for the Premier League title, and I offered you Lewis Skelly or Robertson, you'd go for Lewis Skelly and start him every game at left back.
Yeah.
He wasn't convinced there, Nick.
And that's not biased.
Nicky boy, you weren't convinced. That wasn't a convincing yes at all. I hear you though. I hear you. I tend to agree with you. Listen, I love Robertson. But his performances this season have said that maybe they're looking elsewhere. But Kirkes hasn't been good enough. I agree with you. Miles Lewis-Skelly potentially, I think, could and would start for Liverpool. He doesn't start for Manchester City, and he's not starting for Arsenal. Outside of that, it's up for debate. He would start for 85% of most Premier League sides.
Mikel Arteta's contradictory comments dismissed after Everton versus Arsenal fixture change. Mikel Arteta has faced criticism from sections of the Arsenal fanbase after the Premier League granted the club's request to move their away fixture against Everton forward by 1 day. However, a closer look at Arteta's statements shows there was no real contradiction in his words, only a misunderstanding of priorities. The change means Arsenal will now face Everton on December 20th, rather than on Sunday the 21st, allowing the Gunners an extra day of rest before their Carabao Cup quarter-final against Crystal Palace. From the club's perspective, it's a sensible move to protect player welfare and performance levels during a congested period. Yet for many supporters, the news came as an inconvenience, and in some cases, a financial burden. Fans who had already booked non-refundable travel and accommodation for the original date could now be out of pocket. In response, Arsenal announced that they would provide coach travel to Liverpool for £10 return, but the gesture didn't stop frustration from spilling over on social media. An Arsenal fixture news account on X, formerly Twitter, at AFC Fixture News, summed up the mood. The away match against Everton has been moved to Saturday, December 20th at 8 p.m. thanks to at Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, and at Sky Sports PL. The last train from Liverpool to London departs at 8:12 p.m. Football for the fans. Replies to the post, from an account with over 40,000 followers, were divided. Some supporters even accused Arteta of contradicting earlier comments where he seemed to emphasize the importance of fan welfare. But is that really the case? Having attended the press conferences where Arteta was asked about the scheduling issues before and after the Crystal Palace quarter-final was announced, it becomes clear his comments were taken out of context. Following Arsenal's win over Brighton in the Carabao Cup fourth round, Arteta was asked whether he feared fixture congestion could become a problem. He responded, "I hope not. If we take care of the well-being of both players and our supporters, we should never get to that point. That's our most important value. We have the best league in the world, and we can't lose that by ignoring what makes it special. If we respect that, I'm sure everything will be fine." This was the first time Arteta mentioned both players and supporters together in this specific context, placing them in the same sentence, not necessarily in the same order of importance. Later, when Arsenal were travelling to Prague for their Europa League win over Slavia, the December 23rd date for the Palace match was confirmed. Asked about the potential scheduling clash, Arteta, visibly serious, said, "Hopefully they move the Premier League game, because it doesn't make any sense to play until that late in December. I'm sure they'll make the right decision." When pressed again about the long-term impact of playing 2 matches in 3 days, he clarified his stance. As I said before, I'm confident the league will apply the right principles, to prioritize the players first, then the supporters, and to make sure things remain fair for all clubs. In other words, Arteta's position has been consistent. His hierarchy, players first, then fans, reflects the practical realities of management. From a sporting point of view, that's not unreasonable. His job ultimately is to give Arsenal the best chance of winning matches, and playing 2 high-intensity games within 72 hours would compromise that goal while increasing injury risks. That said, the disruption to fans is real and shouldn't be dismissed. Arsenal have tried to mitigate the damage, offering affordable coach travel to Merseyside. It's not an afterthought. The club has made similar efforts before. For instance, earlier this season they organized a chartered train service for the trip to Manchester. The pilot program was later cancelled due to low uptake, but supporters were refunded, and coach travel was again arranged at less than half the train fare. Still, some pointed to restrictions on alcohol consumption on those buses as a reason for the lack of enthusiasm among travelers. A small but telling example of the balancing act clubs face between fan experience and logistical responsibility. As someone traveling to Liverpool on the new date to cover the match, it's easy to empathize with supporters' frustration. Plans are disrupted, and expenses add up. Yet, from a footballing standpoint, it's equally clear why the adjustment was necessary. In the end, the accusation that Arteta betrayed his words doesn't hold up. His comments were consistent with his role, a manager whose first duty is to protect his players and the team's ability to compete. While supporters deserve respect and consideration, ensuring player welfare, and by extension, the club's chances of success, inevitably comes first. The debate highlights a broader tension that runs through modern football, the struggle to balance fan experience with the relentless demands of the sporting calendar. For Arteta, it's not about choosing one over the other, but about finding a way to keep both sides moving in the same direction. The scheduling change has sparked broader discussions about fixture congestion and the growing disconnect between football authorities and match-going supporters. While the Premier League's decision ultimately favored Arsenal's sporting interests, it reignited long-standing frustrations among fans who feel that television broadcasters, rather than clubs or supporters, dictate the modern football calendar. Several supporter groups voiced their disapproval following the announcement. The Football Supporters Association, FSA, released a statement calling for greater transparency in fixture scheduling, emphasizing the financial and logistical strain late changes impose on fans. Once again, supporters are being treated as an afterthought, the statement read. When games are moved at short notice for broadcast or scheduling purposes, fans are left out of pocket. This has to change. These concerns have grown louder in recent years as fixture lists become increasingly congested, with Premier League clubs competing in multiple domestic and international competitions. December, in particular, is notorious for its relentless schedule, and managers have repeatedly warned that player fatigue and injuries are becoming inevitable outcomes of such intensity. Arteta's comments, prioritizing player welfare first, then fans, reflect a reality shared by many top-flight managers. Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and Erik ten Hag have all voiced similar frustrations about scheduling in recent months. Guardiola, after Manchester City's December fixtures were adjusted for television, remarked that the players are not machines, echoing the same sentiment that underpins Arteta's reasoning. Yet, despite the alignment among managers, fans often find themselves caught in the middle. They shoulder the financial and emotional burden of fixture changes while being told those changes are made in the name of fairness or player protection. In practice, those decisions often serve commercial partners first, particularly broadcasters who push for prime-time slots to maximize viewership. From Arsenal's perspective, the fixture change is undeniably beneficial. Playing Everton on the 20th instead of the 21st gives Arteta's side 2 full days of rest before the Carabao Cup quarter-final against Crystal Palace, an important fixture as the Gunners continue their pursuit of silverware on multiple fronts. It also reduces the risk of injuries at a time when the squad has been stretched thin by European and domestic commitments. Internally, sources close to the club maintain that the request for a schedule adjustment was made solely based on player welfare and sporting integrity, not with disregard for supporters. Arsenal's communication staff are said to have worked closely with fan liaison officers to ensure alternative travel options were available, though they acknowledge that such measures can never fully compensate for the inconvenience caused. Meanwhile, the Premier League defended its decision, citing the need to maintain competitive balance across the fixture list. A league spokesperson explained that changes of this nature are reviewed on a case-by-case basis, and that input from clubs, broadcasters, and local authorities is taken into account. However, critics argue that such explanations have become formulaic, offering little real comfort to fans who consistently bear the consequences of late scheduling shifts. The ripple effects of this incident extend beyond Arsenal. Supporter groups from other clubs have pointed to it as yet another example of how fan priorities are sidelined in the modern game. There are renewed calls for an independent review of fixture planning and for a minimum notice period before changes are approved, proposals that have circulated for years but never gained traction. For Arteta, however, the matter seems settled. His focus remains on maintaining squad fitness and momentum heading into a decisive period of the season. While the debate over priorities will continue, his stance, that the health and performance of players must come first, reflects a pragmatic, if unpopular, truth in modern football. In the end, the controversy around Arsenal's fixture change underscores a growing divide between the business of football and the experience of football. Managers like Arteta operate in a results-driven environment where every decision is judged by points and trophies. Fans, on the other hand, live the consequences of those decisions, in time, travel, and loyalty. The real challenge for English football now lies in bridging that gap, ensuring that the pursuit of success on the pitch doesn't come at the expense of the very people who fill the stands.